All right, strap in, everyone. Today we're going deep on the Tecno Camon 12 Air.
Oh, interesting choice.
Yeah, someone sent over this review from rechargemytollpup.com, and well, I gotta say I'm intrigued.
Intrigued how?
Well, the phone seems to have some pretty impressive features, at least on paper.
Uh-huh.
But then there are these potential downsides. I'm not sure it all adds up.
You know, that's the classic budget phone dilemma, right?
Really? Yeah.
Trying to find that sweet spot between features and price, and I think the Camon 12 Air kind of embodies that struggle.
It does. It does.
This phone actually came out back in September 2019.
Oh, wow. So it's not exactly new.
No, it's been around for a while, which can be both good and bad, in the world of tech.
Yeah, for sure. So, okay, let's start with the display.
Okay.
The review raves about it being a massive 6.55 inches with what they call HD plus resolution.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, what does that even mean for someone who just wants to, enjoy their phone?
Well, think of it this way. Imagine watching a movie on a tiny little old TV versus like a big modern one.
Yeah.
That HD plus resolution on the Camon 12 Air basically means you're getting a lot more pixels packed into that big screen.
Makes sense.
So you end up with a sharper image, more detail.
Okay.
So for, browsing the web, watching videos, or even just texting, everything is going to look crisp and clear.
Ah, so it's like having a mini cinema in your pocket.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, well, what about the camera?
Oh, good one.
I mean, everyone wants to take those Instagram-worthy shots these days.
For sure. The Camon 12 Air actually has a triple rear camera system.
Oh, wow, triple. Really?
Which is pretty impressive for a budget phone.
Yeah, that's a lot of camera.
You've got a 16MP main lens for everyday shots.
Okay.
A 5MP ultra-wide lens for those big landscapes,
Right.
And then a 2MP depth sensor to help create those portrait mode photos with the blurred background.
Oh, I see.
But as with any phone, there are going to be some trade-offs.
I was going to say, I'm sensing a but coming.
Yeah.
What's the catch?
Well, the review said that while the camera's pretty good in daylight, it kind of struggles in low light. So if you're someone who likes taking pictures at night or indoors, you might not get the results you're hoping for.
That's good to know.
Think about your own photography habits. Are you usually snapping pics in well-lit places?
That's a really good point.
Or do you need a camera that can handle the dark?
I actually take a lot of pictures at concerts and restaurants.
Okay.
Those dimly lit places.
Yeah.
So that is something to think about.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the phone's performance.
All right.
How does this thing handle everyday tasks?
Right.
And let's be real, the occasional mobile game.
So it runs on a MediaTek Helio P22 processor.
Okay.
Which is a decent mid-range chipset, especially for a phone from 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So for everyday things like browsing, checking emails, scrolling through social media, even some light gaming, it should do just fine.
Okay, so no problem with the essentials.
No, should be smooth sailing.
But what if I wanted to play those really graphics-intensive games?
Well, that's where you might run into some limitations.
Oh, okay.
The Helio P22 isn't really made for heavy gaming.
Right.
So you might experience some lag, frame drops with those more demanding titles.
Okay.
It really depends on your gaming habits and what you prioritize,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what about battery life?
All right.
That's a big one for me. I need a phone that can keep up.
Yeah, for sure.
With my busy day.
The Camon 12 Air has a 4,000 milliamp battery.
Okay.
Which is pretty substantial.
Yeah.
Should easily last a full day with moderate use.
That's good to know.
Of course, if you're constantly streaming or gaming or using GPS, you might need to top up before the day's over.
Makes sense.
But for average use, you should be good.
Okay. All right. So big screen, decent camera, and a battery that can handle my day-to-day.
Yeah.
But I can't shake this feeling like there's something we haven't talked about yet. Something that could be a deal breaker.
You're right. There is.
Okay. Here we go.
And it's a big one.
I'm all ears.
Let's talk about software.
Uh-oh. This is where it gets interesting.
The Camon 12 Air was launched with Android 9.
Okay.
And that's where the story seems to end.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah.
No updates since then?
No software updates.
That's not great, right?
It's a big concern, especially these days.
Yeah.
You see, software updates aren't just about new features and bells and whistles. They also include really important security patches that protect your phone from vulnerabilities and malware.
So without updates, this phone is potentially open to all sorts of digital threats.
Exactly. And the longer a phone goes without updates, the bigger the risk.
Wow. Okay.
So with the Camon 12 Air being from 2019, We're talking a long time without any security improvements.
I see, so that's not good.
It's like leaving your front door unlocked, in a bad neighborhood.
Yeah, not a good idea.
You're just asking for trouble.
I had no idea those software updates were that critical.
Yeah, it's important stuff.
So this lack of updates is a major red flag for the Camon 12 Air.
It's definitely something to consider very carefully, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially because we rely on our phones for so much these days, right?
Shall we?
Banking, online shopping, social media,
Mm-hmm.
even storing sensitive personal information.
Yeah, it's everything.
Would you really feel comfortable using a device knowing it might not be fully protected?
Honestly, no, not really.
Right.
Especially after hearing you explain the risks.
Yeah.
So, okay, we have this phone.
Yeah.
Great display, decent camera system, solid battery.
Mm-hmm.
But this software update thing is making me rethink everything.
I understand. It's all about weighing the pros and cons.
Yeah.
And figuring out what matters most to you.
Right.
Is the low price and that big screen worth those potential security risks?
Yeah.
Or would you rather spend a bit more
Mm-hmm.
for a phone that will get updates for years to come?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
All right, well, let's dig into some of the other details in this review.
Okay.
See if there are any other hidden gems or maybe some more pitfalls.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, tell me, does this phone at least feel good to hold?
So the review mentioned that the Camon 12 Air has a plastic body.
Okay.
Which is pretty standard for budget phones, helps keep the cost down.
Right.
It might not feel as premium or as durable
Yeah.
as a phone with, a metal or glass design.
I see.
But it's not necessarily a deal breaker.
So maybe not as sleek or sturdy?
Yeah.
But it could still get the job done.
Right.
What else did they say in the review?
Well, they specifically mentioned the phone's storage options.
Oh, okay.
It comes with a dedicated microSD card slot.
Oh, that's great.
So you can easily expand the storage.
I like that.
If you need more space for photos, videos, or music.
Yeah, I am always running out of space on my phone.
Yeah, it's a common problem.
That's a huge plus.
It is.
Okay, anything else that stood out to you?
They also talked about the security features. Okay.
Which are pretty good for a budget model.
Really?
Yeah, you have a fast fingerprint sensor.
Nice.
And face unlock for quick and secure access.
Also, you have options.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I like that.
Options are good.
So we've got expandable storage and multiple ways to keep my phone secure.
Yep.
That's definitely a point in the Camon 12 Air's favor.
It is.
But I have a feeling there might be another downside lurking just around the corner.
Oh, you're getting good at this.
Uh-huh.
You're right. There is one more detail that might be a turnoff for some users.
Okay, lay it on me. What else do I need to know?
The review mentioned that the phone comes with a bunch of pre-installed apps.
I hate that. Like digital clutter.
I know, right?
Is this something I should be worried about with this phone?
Well, some of them can be removed, at least.
Pick something.
It's a common practice for budget phone makers to include these apps.
Yeah.
Kind of a way to make some extra money.
Right. But yeah, it can be annoying for users who end up with a bunch of apps they don't want.
Absolutely.
Sure.
It's a bit of a nuisance then.
Yeah, but maybe not a deal breaker, depending on how much it bothers you.
True. I'm still really hung up on that whole software update issue, though.
I get it.
It's like this dark cloud over all the good stuff.
It's definitely a recurring theme, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
It can affect everything,
Totally.
Security, performance, the overall experience.
It's making it hard to get excited about anything else.
I understand.
But hey, we haven't talked about price yet.
Oh, that's right.
And isn't that the biggest selling point for a budget phone?
You're absolutely right. At the end of the day, the price is often the deciding factor.
For sure. Especially for people looking for a more affordable option.
Exactly.
So how does the Camon 12 Air stack up in terms of affordability?
Well, the review highlighted its competitive pricing, especially considering that large display and the camera system.
Yeah.
They compared it to other budget phones, and they found it to be a good value for the money.
Okay, so it is budget friendly.
It is.
But does that low price outweigh those risks we talked about?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
It all comes down to your own needs and priorities and how much risk you're comfortable with.
I guess it's like a seesaw.
Yeah.
Affordability on one side and security and, long-term usability on the other.
Precisely. That's the dilemma with budget phones.
It is.
Often got to make some compromises.
Well, I think we've covered just about everything in this review.
I think so, yeah.
We explored the Camon 12 Air's features, the good and the bad.
We did.
And we really dug into the complexities of this whole budget phone market.
Yeah, it's a fascinating landscape.
It is.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I think the decision of whether it's a hidden gem or a budget phone trap that rests with the listener.
Absolutely. We've given them the information.
Yeah.
Now it's up to them to decide.
So, to our listeners out there, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, let us know.
Have we swayed you one way or the other?
We're curious.
Do you see the Camon 12 Air as a potential phone for you?
Or are you leaning in a different direction?
We'd love to hear your perspective.
Yeah, what factors are you considering?
And remember, the most important thing you can take away from this deep dive isn't whether the Camon 12 Air is the right phone for you, but the knowledge and awareness you've gained about smartphones in general.
Exactly.
By understanding the trade-offs, the importance of updates, all the factors to consider, you're empowered to make better decisions about any technology you choose.
Absolutely.
And that's really what the deep dive is all about, right?
It is.
Equipping you with the knowledge you need to navigate this ever-evolving world of technology.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So until next time, stay curious.
Stay curious.
Okay, so we covered the display, the camera, performance, battery life, and of course that whole software update situation.
Yeah, we've hit the main points.
What else is in this review? What did I miss?
Well, there are a few more aspects of the phone they touch on that, might be important depending on what you're looking for.
Okay, like what?
For example, they talk about the audio.
Oh, right, the speaker.
Yeah, specifically, it's a single bottom firing speaker.
Okay, and how is it?
Well, they found it to be adequate for casual listening, nothing too fancy.
So, like, fine for a quick video or a podcast.
Exactly, yeah. They describe the sound quality as decent, but not particularly loud.
Gotcha. So maybe not for a dance party.
Probably not. But they did highlight one positive thing for audio.
Okay, what's that?
They were pleased to see the Camon 12 Air still has a headphone jack.
Oh, the good old headphone jack.
Yep, the 3.5 millimeter one.
That's a relief. I'm not quite ready to give up my wired headphones just yet.
Yeah, a lot of people still prefer them.
So for those of us who like that option, the Camon 12 Air has us covered.
It does, which is nice. It's good to see some phones still catering to that, even with all the wireless stuff these days.
I agree. It's all about having choices.
Right.
Okay, let's get back to the phone itself. What about the design and user interface? What did the reviewers say about that?
Well, we already talked about the plastic body, which may not feel as high-end as some others.
Right.
But they did mention one design element they found kind of interesting.
Oh, what's that?
It's the punch hole front camera.
Punch hole. I've heard that term before, but I don't really know what it means.
Okay, so picture this. Instead of having a big bezel or notch at the top of the screen for the camera, the Camon 12 Air just has a small circular cutout for the lens.
Like a little hole punched right in the display.
Exactly. It's a way to maximize the screen space without that notch getting in the way.
Oh, I see. So you get more screen real estate.
Yeah, it's a popular design trend these days, even for budget phones.
So the Camon 12 Air gets points for a modern look then?
I think so.
What about the user interface, though? Is it easy to use, easy to navigate?
They didn't go into a ton of detail about it, but they did say it runs on a pretty stock version of Android 9.
Wait, Android 9? Didn't we say this phone hasn't gotten any updates?
That's right. So the user interface is kind of stuck in 2019, too.
Oh, no.
You won't get those newer Android features or design elements.
That's a bummer. Seems like we keep coming back to those missing updates.
It's a big deal. It really is.
Yeah, impacting all these different parts of the phone.
Definitely affects the security, the performance, the whole experience.
Makes it hard to get too excited about the good stuff.
I hear ya.
But hey, we haven't talked about the price yet.
Right. The most important thing for a lot of people.
Exactly. Especially when we're looking at a budget phone.
True. So how does the Camon 12 Air measure up in terms of affordability?
Well, the review emphasized how competitive the pricing is.
Oh, okay.
Especially when you consider the large display and the decent camera setup.
Yeah.
They compared it to other budget phones out there and said it's pretty good value.
Interesting.
So it is budget friendly.
It seems like it.
But the question is, does that low price make up for those potential risks from the lack of updates?
That's the big question, isn't it? It's a trade-off, like we've been talking about.
Like that seesaw, affordability on one side, and security and updates on the other.
Exactly. And only you can decide which side weighs more for you.
True. I think we've covered pretty much everything in the review now.
Yeah, we've gone over all the key points.
We've explored the good and the bad of the Camon 12 Air.
We have, and we've really gotten into what it means to shop for a budget phone.
Totally. But in the end, whether it's a hidden gem or a budget phone trap, that's up to the listener to decide.
I agree, it's their call.
So listeners, what are you thinking?
Yeah, we want to know.
Did anything we talked about sway your opinion?
Are you considering it the Camon 12 Air?
Or are you looking at something else entirely?
We'd love to hear your thoughts.
What are the things you're weighing as you think about this phone?
And remember, the biggest takeaway here isn't about whether this specific phone is right for you.
Right.
It's about the knowledge you've gained about the smartphone market as a whole.
Totally. By understanding the trade-offs, the importance of updates, all the different things to think about.
Exactly.
You're better equipped to make smart decisions about any technology you choose. And that's what this show is all about. Giving you the information you need to navigate this crazy world of tech.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
All right. So after all that, where do we land on this Tecno Camon 12 Air? Hidden gem or budget phone trap?
It's a tough one, you know. This phone really shows you the tightrope walk that budget phone shoppers have to do.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
There are some nice things going for it, for sure.
Like what? Remind me.
Well, that big, beautiful screen we talked about, and the camera's not bad if you have good lighting.
Right.
And then the battery life, that's a plus for sure. Won't leave you hanging in the middle of the day.
And let's not forget the price, right? It's supposed to be accessible. That's the whole point.
Exactly. Can't argue with that. But then we run right into that software update wall.
Ugh, yeah.
No updates since 2019. That's a hard one to ignore.
I know. It really is. Honestly, learning about those updates was eye-opening.
Oh, yeah.
I used to think it was just about getting new features, but now I get the security part.
Absolutely. It's crucial.
Like you said, it's like a house with a leaky roof.
Exactly. Might look okay at first, but those problems will come back to bite it.
So what's the verdict then? Is this Tecno Camon 12 Air worth it?
I think it depends. Really. Depends on your needs.
Okay, how so?
Well, if you need a phone right now on a tight budget, and you mostly use it for, basic stuff like browsing, social media, maybe some photos here and there.
Okay, yeah.
Then the Camon 12 Air might be okay.
Especially if you're not bothered by missing out on the latest software stuff.
Right, and if you're okay with those potential security risks.
Yeah, that's a big if though, isn't it?
It is, but on the other hand, if you really want the newest software phone that can handle those big games, or you want something you'll use for years and years, then you might want to keep looking.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
The Camon 12 Air has its good points.
It does.
But those update concerns are a big deal.
Yeah, they are.
It's a good reminder that sometimes a really low price has hidden costs,
Absolutely. And, this deep dive wasn't just about this one phone.
True. What was it about then?
It was about helping you, the listener, figure out what to look for in any smartphone.
Oh, I like that.
Being an informed consumer.
Right.
Knowing what questions to ask. Yeah. Understanding those trade-offs we talked about.
Makes sense.
And then making the choice that's right for you.
You're right. It's about making those smart choices. And who knows, maybe this got some people thinking about other phone brands, their update policies.
That'd be great.
Or maybe just thinking differently about how they use their own phone.
Yeah, the security aspect especially.
That's the thing about knowledge, right? It makes you think in new ways, helps you make better decisions.
Couldn't agree more.
So as we wrap up this plec, look at the Tecno Camon 12 Air.
Yeah.
Remember, this isn't the end.
Oh, no.
Keep exploring, keep asking those questions, keep diving deep into tech.
The journey continues.
It does. And until next time, stay curious, everyone.
Stay curious.